Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining this show. We ought to have started an hour ago. We were trying to put a couple of things together. Thank you so much once more for joining. My name is Tataw. I'm your host today, and today we'll be looking at a special historic document released from school curricula showing there were two Cameroons, and why May 20th must not hold. There are actually two Cameroons. There were two Cameroons, and today National Telegraph has uncovered a document that is showing that fact. We will also bring you a statement from the Norwegian Refugee Council. We'll bring you a full statement from them that we have received. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are always very grateful that you are always on the hook to follow up from National Telegraph. If you're joining, you share extensively. Let's have everybody on board. As you're all aware, we are starting a little bit late after our announcement yesterday. We can actually, explain some other issues. We are quite grateful that you're joining. At this moment, we want to seize the opportunity to wish the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump, a happy birthday. She's celebrating her birthday today, and so we're wishing her a happy birthday. And of course, we ask other followers of National Telegraph to say happy birthday to the First Lady of the United States of America. Of course, as you are all aware, ladies and gentlemen, it is our concern to ensure that we bring you the best at the National Telegraph. That is what we enjoy doing. We enjoy making sure that you have all what it takes so that you can remain, informed about the things we do here. Thank you so much. We are quite grateful to know that you are following closely. And like we said, we are going to bring out a very simple document from schools that will show you that indeed there were two Cameroons. And so you're going to bear with us. We should be starting in a few minutes or so. So once you join, you share, let's have everybody on board. And don't forget, today is a weekend. It's Friday, and we're sure that a lot of things are coming up. So we are going to be very, gentle on this show to ensure that you have all the facts straight. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we'll also bring to you this special document from the Ministry of Secondary Education talking about the salaries of teachers. And as you are all aware, there have been very serious issues that are going on in the Republic of Cameroon. The Republic of Cameroon is very seriously hit by an armed conflict that is spreading in very scandalous proportions in the northwest and southwest regions of that country. And as we speak, the over 8 to 10 million residents of those two regions now prefer that they should be addressed as Ambazonians, not more as the Republic of Cameroon or citizens of the Republic of Cameroon. They say that they have separated, and they are waiting for a kind of official separation. And the reason why there have been a lot of armed groups that have developed in those parts of Cameroon fighting for what they call the restoration of the statehood of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, a new country that they intend to create. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are all aware, we will be looking also at a couple of things, including the situation with Siseko Ayok Tabe-Chilios, who is the leader of the Ambazonian separatist movement. He's actually considered as the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. We'll be looking at Julius and the role of the United Nations in ensuring that the Republic of Cameroon respects a verdict that was passed at the Abuja High Court. You must remember that some while ago, Barrister Falana actually came up very powerfully to ensure that the separatist leaders won a case against the Nigerian government because some time ago, on the 5th of January in 2018, some Ambazonian leaders, as they call themselves, they were arrested, but many others prefer to call that particular exercise as not that they were not arrested, they were actually kidnapped. That's how some people in Southern Cameroon prefer to call it, and that has actually seriously destroyed the reputation of Cameroon and Nigeria at the international scene. And Barrister Falana has actually given the Nigerian government, some time to ensure that those he considered his clients, Sisipa Yoktabe, and the others who were involved in that judgment in the Federal High Court Abuja, be returned to Nigeria, because at the time that they were arrested, they were refugees. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is as far as it goes. We're going to also talk about this very historic document that we have picked up, at the National Telegraph. We are actually concerned with bringing you authentic information. This document, of course, has been uncovered by National Telegraph. It's a document that has been used in school, in various in school settings for a very long time. Many people will be familiar about this document. And in this document, it was clearly demonstrated that there are two Cameroons. We'll be reading from this text talking about National Day, because May 20th is coming just not too soon from now. And so it is a day that the government of the Republic of Cameroon, the regime of President Paul Biya, considers it as a do or die, that those events must hold. As you're already aware, the governor of the Southwest region is now threatening chiefs that they must come with their subjects to march. So we're going to look at all of those implications, and we'll read together from this book. But in the meantime, you also have to understand that the Norwegian Refugee Council has actually released a very strong statement on this situation, and it's more or less something that the international community cannot ignore at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, as you're joining, you share extensively. My name is Tataw. We'll also talk about the coming of Professor Lumumba. Lumumba, of course, is the Pan-Africanist. Is a PLO. Lumumba is a Kenyan heavyweight lawyer and activist who will be here in the United States of America on Sunday. And that event is going to be at 4 p.m. He will be at 3090 Cartwright Road at Columbus, Ohio. So many people will be expected at that event, because he's going to talk about the continuous plunder of Africa by strongmen, focusing on the war in Southern Cameroons. I think the issue in Southern Cameroons is not surprising to anybody, especially as you may be all aware of what is going on after strong men like Omar el-Bashir in Sudan that was kicked out, and the other man in Cameroon, Paul Biya Bimvondo, who is considered as the world's most one of the world's longest serving presidents, and one of those who is now considered as the worst dictators ever to have existed in Africa. In fact, it is seen that President Biya is doing a repeat of the genocide that took place in Rwanda and the Holocaust. And so there is need for a lot of talking to be done about the whole of these issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. You're welcome to the show. My name is Tataw, and we will keep moving on to see how we're going to do this. We might also revisit The Voice that talked about the killing or the killings of civilians, unarmed civilians, by the forces of Mr. Paul Biya. So all of those things, we'll look at them. But don't forget, most especially because a lot of people want to listen to Professor Lumumba speak, and that's going to be a huge, huge event in Ohio. So basically, if you're just joining, we're saying happy weekend, and don't forget that National Telegraph is here to serve you effectively, to ensure that you have the best quality information, because that is our priority, and we pride ourselves in ensuring that every one of us receives the best information. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining, there's a lot that we'll be discussing today. and it is our very special privilege. I think we are going to start in just the next couple of minutes, we hope. And we want to thank you all so very much that you're always there, you're always joining. As you join, please, let's have everybody on board, invite everybody so that we're going to have frank talks today. We're sorry we're coming pretty late, but I think it's better late than never. I want to thank all those of you who are watching from other parts, like those who are watching from Texas. Of course, we're saying hello to Mildred Ngamchi, who's watching from somewhere around the globe. We're also saying hello to Jesse McLee, watching from Texas, to Ashu Atem, who's saying happy birthday to Mrs. President of the United States of America. And we also say hello to Mark Erickson. We'll not forget, of course, Mezan Post and a lot others. We say a big hello and a happy weekend to Peter Junior Takofando, who is watching at this moment. I want to say hello to Josephine Mwali Penja, who's watching too, and we'll say hello to from Terrell Jimmy. So we are following up very closely on the activities, and everybody's watching. Another hello to Emmanuel Esombe. We are following up. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It is always our priority to ensure that we serve you with our best quality news, because at the National Telegraph, we pride ourselves with disseminating only information that matters. So we thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget that this is exactly the situation. We will bring to you this very historic document, and we're going to zoom it out for us all to read it together and to see exactly what's going on. So it is very easy for us all to get the information the way it is without being distorted, and that is why National Telegraph is always here to ensure that you have first-hand information. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to now probably listen to this beautiful piece of music, and it is of course coming from one of the divisions of the Southwest region, which is not one of the counties of the Southern zone of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to, of course, be getting this straight up, just a little bit of it before we continue the show, so that we'll have everybody on board. We will also continuously educate followers on how to get us on National Telegraph and our National Telegraph page, given that all our Facebook accounts have been disabled, but that is fine. That's good to go. At this juncture, let's listen to this beautiful piece from Batenico. It's called Sesequayo Cabe Julius. We'll just get the audio while we... Assistant Vice President for Digital Services and Chief Information Officer, Office of Technology and Digital Services. Once you join, you share extensively. Let's have everybody on board, And very important also to have everybody working at the time. Okay, I want to also say happy weekend to Tataw Yaya, who's watching from the United States of America, somewhere around Maryland. And of course, we are thinking of all the listeners who are watching from the Republican. We also talk about this family of four that was wiped off by the Cameroon military. The little girl there is supposed to march on May 20th. and she was killed, brutally killed by the Cameroonian military. So today we debate on the necessity of 20th May, or what they call the National Day, when children are being slaughtered by regime and similarly the world is quiet. Okay, we're going to come back to that piece of music, beautiful music from Batenico. Of course, Batenico is one of those English-speaking musicians. He hails from Kembong. Kembong is a town in Manu Division, otherwise referred to now as Manu County, because of the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, otherwise known as the northern zone and southern zone, the northern and southern zones of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Thank you for joining. You are onto National Telegraph, and we'll start the show while we hope other people will be joining. Now, today we want to bring you, the memorabilia. May 20th is just around the corner. It's not very far from today. Today is the 26th, so it is almost less than 3 weeks to go. And the government of the regime of Mr. Paul Biya thinks that it is the only way out to show that there is national unity. There's a lot that's going on in Cameroon. And the teachers and the lawyers, like we always explain, were disgruntled by what they call, language issues, judges and French judges and French teachers in English schools and courts, and all of those, and poor working conditions and the sufferings of the masses was later imputed into the revolution by a certain man called Manchon BBC, who is now in jail for as many years as you can imagine. He's been sentenced for many years. Now, the point is this: the 20th May is coming, and you would be surprised that in Cameroon, Paul Biya took office since 1982. But there are schools where people still sit on bare floors and people sit like this under the trees to study in Cameroon. But Paul Biya and few ministers, they live an exotic life. They have money. You saw what happened to the former Minister of Defense, the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Alain Mebengo. When he was arrested, you saw the junk of money and all of those issues and all of that. Now, Paul Biya is the president since 1982. He lives an exotic life. He's well placed. All the ministers are good. Their children have the best positions, but they don't even go to these kind of schools. They go to the best schools. They study almost virtually nothing. And when they come out, they probably are one of the worst students, like we have gathered from statistics. But the students who go through all this very thorough and very stressful educational system, all the training without classrooms, without adequate teaching materials, they still do not have jobs. Most often, you have to bribe somebody who is in a bigger place to get you a job. Now, this is the irony. May 20th is coming. I want to put this. You see, this is when the ambience used to be high, where students used to march on, pupils used to march on May 20th. Everybody was marching, and the march past used to be very, very gigantic. Now, you want to ask yourself this question: that why is it that students are staying away from school and from activities organized by the government? That's the question. The government of Cameroon must have a review that why is it that today our governors are forcing the chiefs and threatening them to actually bring their people, the people from their villages, to come and march? That's a big question that the government has failed to answer. Today, the government has to ask this very technical question, so searching question, that why is it that today we are removing communiques, asking teachers to return, or workers, civil servants to return to their place of work? The question has been long answered by the president of CAF. Let me see if I can pull out the picture of the president of CAF. I remember a long time ago I had it in my diary. Okay, we don't have it here, but no, that question has been long answered by the president of CAF, and it was a very simple and straightforward question. The CAF man answered those questions in one document, in one declaration. Why Cameroon was not given the right to host the Nations Cup? Insecurity. So the government of Mr. Probia has actually left the real problem and is chasing. It's like you have malaria and there is the doctor is next door and your door is shut to get into the doctor, and the keys are with your wife. Now you start calling some other person that hasn't got the keys. So this is simple. Your wife should be the next most available solution. Now, why am I saying this? The government of Cameroon, of Mr. Probia, must understand a lot of things. And it is important for us all as a people, as journalists, to continuously educate the government. When the government burns down places like this, absolutely, the government burns down villages and poor mothers are suffering. And the government intends that these women should send their children to go for 20th May to satisfy the egos of those in power. How is it possible? The governor of the Southwest, Okala Bilai, had a press conference during the preparatory meeting for the May 20th celebration, was warning chiefs that should they not come with their subjects or their people, they will be replaced. Now the question is, where are these people? Why would the governor be forcing chiefs to bring the people? Because before now, people love to go to the field, to go march voluntarily. It was a voluntary exercise. Why is the government of Mr. Probia denying the fact that they are losing every grip on the people of the Northwest and Southwest regions? Why is it that they have refused to look at the bigger picture? Then America has identified that there is need for an inclusive dialogue without precondition. The European Union has identified. Today, we'll read a statement from the Norwegian Refugee Council. You ask yourself these big questions. Why, and why? I think the government of Mr. Probia is either deceiving itself or they are aware and they're playing with time, and in which case, the separatists, as they call them, don't have time. Because as you heard, Nijon Fundi spoke on Voice of America, like we played yesterday. Just a fast correction. Yesterday, we thought we were calling the name Voice of America, but we were mentioning BBC. So I want to do that correction because that was a mistake yesterday. The interview was from Voice of America, but we said it was BBC. So when we listened later, we realized we made the mistake because even the audio that was played, it was said it was being read there that Voice of America. And we are very familiar with that particular jingle from Voice of America, so we send our apologies. Now, going forward, the government should understand one thing. May 20th is not a thing that the force people. Take, for example, this breaking news from the refugee camps in Nigeria, that the Cameroon consulate in Calabar has forcefully carried gifts to the refugee camps, and then in the gifts they have put sachet papers with the materials or cloth or fabrics having President Probia's face, and they have forced refugees under what we want to describe as gunpoint to thank President Probia. Probably they want to use that video from May 20th to say even the people in Nigeria were celebrating May 20th. But the refugees have denied that that was against their wishes. So we want the world to know that in case you see a video in the future talking about how the refugees in Nigeria are happy with President Probia, you should remember that National Telegraph has already told you that those images are fictitious, they are fake, and they were done under duress. Now, this people here you see, just this 1 to 3, they are supposed to go to the field voluntarily. Look at this little child. When you see a child like this, that is standing here looking at how the crops and the goods and chattels of his grandmother, his parents, have been destroyed by the military. You want this child to go march? That's the question. Now, you as a government, you are forcing the chiefs to bring people to come and march, people who don't exist, people who have all fled from their villages because of military brutality. National Telegraph is following the events on the ground, and we are aware about the situation. And that's why we're explaining, as a defender of the oppressed people, that there is nothing like gross human rights violations in Southern Cameroon. No, that is not what is going on in Southern Cameroon. What is going on in Southern Cameroon is not human rights violation, it's genocide. It's above human rights. It's not telling somebody that I don't have internet like they used to do before. What is going on in Southern Cameroon is a genocide. In fact, we want to call it a Holocaust. And every social media platform is supposed to fight for these minority people who are being killed because of their beliefs. They are being killed because of what they believe in. These are people that have been almost completely exterminated. They have been almost wiped out from the surface of the world. See, yesterday we showed these same pictures on our live show, and we want to remind people of that. Now, let us come going forward. We'll look at these documents. This is a document. This is English, an English language document that you must have seen here. Everybody is familiar with this. Now, this is what is interesting to us. As you have seen, this document, of course, I want you to take a look at this particular document. Although what we have on the screen now is a flyer of Professor Lumumba, but we're trying to pull out something very quickly. Great. Okay. So we got to pull that the other document, but that's fine. But we'll just go forward. So you look at this, and you would have noticed, like we have said here, that this is a very special English language textbook that has been in all the schools around Cameroon, in the northwest and southwest regions, and even in some francophone zones where English language is taught. In fact, it is a standard book that is in the syllabus of the English language in the country, Cameroon. Now, I didn't produce this book. National Telegraph only got interest because we investigated and we brought out this book to prove to the world, as a defender of the oppressed, that there were two Cameroons. There were two Cameroons. There are two Cameroons, and that National Day was celebrated based on the conviction of the children, based on what their parents told them. So this is English for Cameroon. And I will pull out this text and read it to us. I'll zoom it. You can see National Day, and this is a parent talking to the child while she was ironing dresses. And of course, we'll get the conversation. It's very important. Now, it's called Unit 18 of English for Cameroon. Unit 18 says this is a conversation between the father and the daughter. Now, father is going to ask Babi, "What are you doing?" Babi, that's the question the father asked. And Babi replied, "I'm ironing my school uniform. Tomorrow is May 20th, or tomorrow is the 20th of May. It's National Day, and we are having a march past in town, I must look smart. So this is what we are talking about. That's what Barbie was telling the father. I will take it all over. Says, what are you doing, Barbie? The father asked. I'm ironing my school uniform. Tomorrow is the 20th of May. It's National Day and we are having a march past in town. I must look smart. That's what Barbie told the father. The father went on. Yes, you must. National Day is the most important day of the year in Cameroon. Do you know why? That's what the father asked. You can read from the screen. And Barbie said, our teacher told us that on the 20th May 1972, the Francophone people of the East Cameroon joined together with the Anglophone people of the West of Cameroon. So, at the National Telegraph, we bring facts, and the government of Cameroon must agree that these are things that they approved in the curriculum. In the whole curricula, it was approved that, listen very attentively, that our teacher, so it was taught in school. Those were things that were taught in school. That our teacher told us that on the 20th May 1972, the Francophone people of the East Cameroon, that's one Cameroon, joined together with the Anglophone people of the West of Cameroon. They united to become the United Republic of Cameroon. That is simple. So there were two Cameroons. Cameroon was two. Cameroon was never one and indivisible. Cameroon was since divided. There were two Cameroons of equal opportunities, two Cameroons of equal status. So 1972, I did not do this. I did not do this book. In fact, 1972, I was not born. So we only owe the responsibility to make people, as journalists, to bring informed choices or articles that will make people to get informed choices. Going forward, now I'll continue to read the passage. It says, but I don't understand why some people in Cameroon are Anglophone and others are Francophone or Francophone. Then the father said, it's a long story. It's a long story. I'm going to read. Now, very easy to read. It's a long story. That's what the father said. Many European countries have taken part or have taken a part in the history of Cameroon. The Portuguese came here. I have to be zooming so that you'll be reading along with me. The Portuguese came here to trade in the 1472, and the colonial, I hope I got it right, and in the colonial times, different European countries ruled Cameroon. No, I think I skipped something. They came to trade in 1472, and many other European countries also traded with the people here. Then, in the colonial times, different European countries ruled Cameroon. Okay, we pull it out. The Germans came in 1884, and then after the First World War, in 1918, what happened? The French ruled most of the country. This was called East Cameroon. Going forward, the father said the British ruled two areas. One of these areas is now part of Nigeria, but the other is now the Northwest Province and Southwest Province, and Northwest and Southwest Province. So Thibault Nash was not stupid to say, let's go back to the root causes, as you can see. Now, the other is the Northwest and Southwest Province. It's very simple. And how did they call this place? They finally called it, they call it now West Cameroon. The Northwest and Southwest, that's what we refer in the parliament as West Cameroon. We'll read forward. Now, so even though Cameroon became independent in 1960, the people in the former French part speak French, and the people in the former British part speak English. Barbie. But now we all learn English and French at school. The father replied, yes, you do. Cameroon is now a united, independent country. We must work hard to communicate well with each other and work for the good of the country. Very important clause. So this is what was written at the time. So you ask yourself this question, that how much time the government of Mr. Paul Biya puts in ensuring that Cameroon is indeed working hard to remain united. Now, it's a simple thing, going by history. Cameroon was united under what historians have now reviewed as very unscrupulous methods. But for the government of Cameroon to deny completely that Cameroon was never two countries, they wrote it in their own novels, in their own textbooks. Now, this family was transporting the corpse of their brother. This is the wife. And this man, this is his daughter, and this is his kid brother. He died and was being transported or ferried from the mortuary in Bamenda to their village in Widikum subdivision. And the military opened fire around a hill after going towards Tiben, another location, before you reach Widikum. What happened? This woman and her daughter were shot and killed on the spot. This one was also shot and he died in the hospital. These are not made up stories. These are facts. How can a government think that the country is united and it has a military that is supposed to protect civilians like this? Look at this child. How old is this child? It's very embarrassing. This child was killed alongside the mother. So the military that is supposed to protect a country that is a united Cameroon wiped out an entire generation. An entire generation was wiped out by the military. So, ladies and gentlemen, we at the National Telegraph, we are of the opinion that 20th May is null and void in Cameroon based on statistics. They cannot be 20th May in Cameroon when people are being killed by the same military that is supposed to protect them, and they claim the country is united. Yes, the country is united per what we have learned at the National Telegraph, per illegal, so a kind of illegal union. Southern Cameroonians, of course, of the West Cameroon, the Northwest and Southwest regions, now they were formerly provinces, and they have changed to regions. The people from those areas say that they are no longer with the government of Mr. Paul Biya. They said that they have themselves gained their independence, that their president, Ayok Tabe, declared the independence, and they are holding up to it. You see, a country like Cameroon, where you read from Babi and the dad that people are working hard to maintain the two languages, but the government of Cameroon ensures that everybody who speaks English is a second-class citizen. Now, going forward, let me bring to you the statement from the Refugee Council. Let me bring to you that. Just really quickly, I'll pull it out. Excellent. This is the most intriguing part. Okay. Now, the Norwegian Refugee Council has published a statement on its official website yesterday, 25th on the 25th of April, per what we have. In fact, that statement came earlier than that. And the statement reads, is essentially on Cameroon. So I'm going to read the statement from the Norwegian Refugee Council. After this, we'll publish a full statement on the official National Telegraph webpage where you can read it on and make your comments on it. The Norwegian Refugee Council is alarmed by the soaring humanitarian needs in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon. When border fighting displaces hundreds of thousands of civilians, it usually sets international alarm bells ringing. But this does not seem to apply to Cameroon. There is no mediation, no large relief program, no media interest, and little pressure on the parties to stop attacking civilians. Of course, this has been said by the Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council, Jan Eglaland, who visited the southwest region of Cameroon this week. So he was there in the southwest region of Cameroon, and he made this statement. The crisis in the English-speaking part of Cameroon started with peaceful protests in the late 2016, but has escalated to a violent conflict between the government military and non-state armed groups. More than 500,000 people have fled their homes, according to figures from the UN. But those figures from the UN, they are not authentic. We must say they are millions of people already living. In fact, the entire northwest and southwest regions have been displaced. So hundreds of villages have been burned down. Close to 1 million children are out of school, and tens of thousands are hiding in bushes without any support. The international silence surrounding atrocities is as shocking as untold stories of heartbreaking. As the untold stories are heartbreaking. So we're going to publish this entire content on our official Facebook page. I think one of our reporters, Bert, who happens to be my spouse, is compiling that report. So she's compiling it. By the time I get done, it will be ready for us to publish. So that is the situation. So when you look at this, we as a people are actually concerned, as National Telegraph, we are concerned about the situation of these innocent people. Southern Cameroon has been devastated. I mean, the government of Mr. Pobia is doing something beyond what Hitler did. And the world is silent and very quiet. And that is what the Norwegian Refugee Council is saying. And so we ask on a very serious intervention from the international partners, especially the United States of America, the UN authorities. It's important to intervene in Cameroon at this juncture. Now we want to look at Professor P.L. Lumumba. Of course, that is the flyer. He will be coming. It's going to be on Sunday, this weekend. So please, wherever you are, the people of Ohio, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, other cities, they're inviting you. They want you to come out in your numbers. So we can drive. It's 6 hours. I'll be driving myself from the Maryland area or the DMV area, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia. It's very short. It's 6 hours. Those of you coming Delaware and all those areas, we have to all meet there because it's important to show our enormous support to Professor Lumumba, who will be flying all the way from Kenya to talk on the continuous plunder of Africa by strong men, focusing on the war in southern Cameroon. So this remains very important. So you have all seen the document, the historic document that has been there all the time, brought it to limelight for you to see that even in the readers in those days, we as a people we were actually concerned about, what had been written back then in history. That's what is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow viewers of National Telegraph, we want you all to understand that we can read some comments. We're going to take a few calls before we go. I hope that there are some things that we have not left out. We're going to take a few calls. So those who want to call to give their impression, what they think about the Youth Day that is coming on May 20th, please let it be clear that you can call us on, if you're on Ground Zero, as you call it, or Cameroon, or any part of the world. Refugees in Nigeria, you can call on plus 1-202-390-2247, plus 1-202 +1-202-390-2247. That is the number you can call, +1-202-390-2247. So, we are expecting that you call. Once you call, you can tell us what you think about UVA and why you think you shouldn't hold. We're expecting those calls to come in. So we'll be here taking your calls and, hoping that we can wrap up the show in the next couple of minutes. In the meantime, we are very grateful to everybody who is listening. And don't forget that the court case of the Ambazonian separatist leaders will be coming up this Monday, which of course is going to be the 29th of April 2019. And just for you, the record, some people said Sisiko and Co were transferred to Nigeria. That is not true. I spoke with Barrister Fujon some days back, and he told me that story is fake. They will be in court on Monday. And let's use the opportunity to say hello to Pakololo, Paco, who is joining from China, from Asia, of course. We're thanking everybody who is joining at this time. So we'll be taking some calls, but we will, of course, try to get this very specific call from some people say the volume is not good. We want to be sure about what we're doing. So thank you so much. For those of you who are joining, I want you to always remember that National Telegovernment is a very professional news outlet. This is our online TV station. So I see some people complaining, and we, all of us, will obviously. Let me see. Somebody's trying to make some suggestions. I can't get it. We at the National Telegraph, we will not engage in trivialities. We only bring facts that will help the people make informed choices. We stand with all those who are talking about the boycott of 20th May in Cameroon, because it is the best thing to do as a civil punishment to the government of Paul Biya, who has been killing, raping, and doing all sorts of things to innocent civilians. As you're all aware, there were 2 Cameroons, and the people now think that that union that was they were engaged into is no longer working, and it is evident in the atrocities that the military has been committed. You have heard what the Dutch Refugee Council, is saying, and everybody is complaining about what's going on in Cameroon. So yes, there were 2 Cameroons. They united, though under illegal circumstances, and when you get into a marriage and it's not working, you have the right to divorce. And the poor Southern Cameroons think that they are no longer interested in the marriage. We as a people, we understand that as a media organ, we are concerned about the particular things that are disturbing to our people who are oppressed. So we'll take a few calls before we go, and that's going to be it. If we don't have calls coming, we are going to leave it at that. If there are any other things that we've forgotten, we're going to bring them up tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, we intend to be live anytime that we have time to run an hour show or predominantly every day on National Telegraph to keep you abreast. Don't forget, for those of you who are joining us, we will now also want to say that to get our live videos and to be a follower of this page is easy. Just go to Facebook, you type National Telegraph on the search bar, and you see National Telegraph. When you click on National Telegraph, you get to the National Telegraph page. You click on it and you scroll down, you see options as like, follow, and all of those. If you're not following yet, click on like and follow, and you'll be able. Click on the follow page, on the follow button, and on the like button. You'll be able to, of course, get us all out here. Thank you very much. I think a lot of you will be following this page subsequently. God bless you, and we're happy to know. Okay, we'll just take this to this person who's made a comment here, which is very important that we look at. I think it's a concern that the person has raised. We'll just, the person says that it is kind of, poisoning the minds of on Round Zero. So some of, I don't get it. What's that? Okay. Well, we don't understand that question. I think we are on 20th May, so we'll not respond to questions that are out of the context. So we only want to talk about contextual issues. This is a very liberal page. You have the right to express your opinion, but you must, of course, expect that we will not be replying to comments that are not contextual. If you have issues regarding 20th May, the visit of Professor Lumumba, we are going to reply to you. Thank you so much. Today, of course, is Friday, April 26, 2019, and my name is Eric Tataw. We're going to say bye from the National Telegraph crew. Yes, somebody has just indicated that number is +1 202 390 2247. Tomorrow we will likely bring some refugees on board, or not. If not, some people who are related to refugees, to talk about the situation where the government of Cameroon has forced refugees to get the T-shirts of President Pobia, and to also do videos to say thank you to President Pobia, as though they are happy with President Pobia. Wow, ironically, they are not. Once more, thank you and have a very beautiful weekend. We'll see you tomorrow once we are live. We'll also see you Sunday once we'll be live with Professor P.L.O. Lumumba. Don't forget, before we go, we're going to give you this announcement once more. Professor Lumumba will be in Columbus, Ohio on Sunday. The event is going to start from 4 p.m. and it's going to be at 3090 Cartwright Road, Columbus, Ohio. Of course, you can see those numbers that you can call for directives or directions. It's 614-558, or you have 614-558-4283 or 978-966-1816. You can also call 614-717-8454. Thank you very much, or rather 52, ends with 52. Thank you once more for watching. We're going to say bye from this end.